Hey YouTube, it's Amanda with Getting There Green, and I'm going to make this a really quick update for two reasons. One being that the camera's battery is almost dead, and the second being that I have food cooking in the house. Alright, so here's an update on our garden. I planted these beautiful sunflowers. They're taller than I am, so they're probably about between 6 to 7 feet tall. I'm 5 feet tall. I planted ones that would be red, and they vary in color. Some are very red, some are a little red like this one, and some are much more yellow. But they're just gorgeous. I'm going to plant these again for sure in future years. See them? They're growing over top of, and all that is just 2 stalks, by the way. They're growing over top of broccoli and watermelon. And right here we have a little watermelon. Beautiful little watermelon. As far as I know, that's the only watermelon that is growing in here. It's the only one I've noticed. Over here I have where I've planted cantaloupe. I don't see any actual cantaloupe, but I do see a number of flowers on this. So maybe we'll get some. Inside the greenhouse we have tomatoes. You're looking at Bonnie Best tomatoes here. And next to that we have some chocolate cherry tomatoes. My tomatoes are all doing really well right now. There's a lot of tomatoes out. I've picked some already. We have here an interesting variety. This is a Polish linguiça, and I had a lot of trouble getting these to start. I grew them from seed, and this is the only one that survived out of however many I planted. And you can see there's only 2 tomatoes on it. One is green and one is red at the moment. Yeah, sometimes that's the way things happen. Next to it I have here, these are just bell pepper plants, and I've actually been harvesting bell peppers off of it, so there's none on here right now, but there is a flower, so we may get more. They've been wonderful. I do love bell peppers. Cucumbers. We planted pickling cucumbers, so they're just short and fat, and we've been picking them when they're about this size and this color. I don't know if that's the right time to pick them, but that's what we're doing. I plan to pickle those in the next couple of days. There's only a couple on here at the moment. They're growing fast. Every day it seems that there's a couple more on here. If I remember right, there was one near the ground. Oh, there's a tiny one. There we go. How are the upside down ground cherries growing? They did much better growing out of the ground than they are doing hanging upside down here. But they are growing and they are producing. We've eaten a couple off here, but yeah, we're not getting a big crop like we did last year. It's actually not even very big. It's not much bigger than it was when we planted it, actually. Zucchini. The zucchini plants over here haven't been, well, they haven't been producing at all. They don't look very healthy at the bases. I allowed it to kind of go where it wanted to go and reroot itself, which it has done here. It's rooted in the mulch between my garden beds here, and that's fine. I'm going to let it do that because I don't think the base is very happy at the moment. You can see there's a tiny zucchini on it, and hopefully those little tiny zucchinis will develop. Earlier in the year, one zucchini started about that size and then it just shriveled up and died. So I don't know what's going on with this, but I haven't had a single edible zucchini yet this year, and it kind of upsets me because I love zucchini. And my friends who live in the area, they've had tons of zucchini so far this year, but then the squash vine borer, that's what it's called. The squash vine borer, excuse me, I can't even say it. Anyways, it attacked their zucchinis, so no more for them this year, but hopefully mine won't have the same fate. Over here, we've kind of allowed things to go wild this year. We haven't been training them up much, and that's okay. That's the way nature is, right? This tomato plant, it has the yellow pear tomatoes. They're just gorgeous. Look at that bright color. Beautiful. It's producing lots of them. This is wonderful. We've got another zucchini plant here. I don't see anything productive on that. And there's another tomato plant behind there. I thought it was Roma, but now I'm not sure, looking at it. Might have just been one that grew back from last year, so I just stuck it in the ground and let it do its thing. Raspberries, not producing any raspberries yet, but I think, let's see. The raspberries aren't producing raspberries yet, but I think they will soon. I see tiny little buds that look like they should produce something. We have these tiny, cute little grapes that are growing. I wonder if something's eating them, because I'm sure there were more than this before. But anyway, we just planted this grape plant last year, so it's not a surprise that there really aren't many grapes yet. Do you want to know what powdery mildew looks like? This is what it looks like. This is exactly what it looks like at its worst. This is a squash of some type. I don't recall what kind. It might be spaghetti squash. I'm not sure. Might be zucchini, but it definitely has powdery mildew on it. And it seems to be the only thing that has been affected by it, which is a little odd, but there you go. Classic case powdery mildew. Next to it, we have another vine that I'm sure it's a squash as well. Fairly certain that this one is a spaghetti squash because it looks different than any other I've ever planted before. And you can see it's just covered in buds. So I think we're going to have something great soon. It's also covered in ants. I don't know if that's a problem. But it's rerooting all along the way, which I'm going to allow it to do because that'll give it lots of strength. Roma tomatoes. Roma tomatoes. Roma tomatoes. And this plant has been producing for me very strange Roma tomatoes. They're shaped sort of heart-shaped with an indent on the bottom, and they all get this, oh, this one came off. They all get this dark spot on the bottom. I don't know why. Every one I'm getting on this has been like that. See, there's another one there. Any ideas, guys? I'm wondering if it cross-pollinated with something, because I think this is one that just grew back from last year. What do you guys think? All my other Roma tomato plants are doing just fine. This is the only weird one. See, beautiful Roma right there on the plant right next to it. And maybe I shouldn't be planting a variety of tomatoes right next to each other, but here's another yellow pear tomato. Doing beautifully. And down here we have our cabbage. Maybe someday it'll produce a cabbage. In the meantime, it's beautiful. It's had a little bit of trouble with cabbage worms, but not much. We actually used neem oil to take care of the cabbage worms, and I think it did a fairly good job. We haven't had a lot eaten from the cabbage since then. So look up neem oil, N-E-E-M. Okay, guys? So that is what's happening in our garden. That's everything that's doing really well. Not that there's anything doing really poorly that I'm afraid to show you or anything, but there you go. Quick update. Talk to you later, guys.